How do you make friends? In a world where screen time is on the rise and real-life human connectivity is on a steep decline, how do you make friends? And how do you do it in a new language? Well, it's what tons of my friends have done and what countless other people have had to do too. So, to gain a greater understanding, I took myself on a little adventure. Inspired by the yes theory and my friends' stories, my goals were to trust in the kindness of strangers, make a new friend using the little German knowledge I have, and stay around a local's place and explore the city together. The city in question? Berlin. I wasn't exactly filled with confidence, but I still bought my ticket, grabbed my camera, and packed my bag. I haven't even left for Berlin yet, and this man approaches me asking for food. So I pay for his food, and he's expressing his gratitude, when two more of his friends join. Swept up in the moment of wanting to help a stranger, I end up buying lunch for the three of them. Bear in mind, they've been selling me the story of how it's their first day here in Germany because they've been escaping the war in Ukraine. They've got my sympathy, I'm hooked, and I want to help. Somehow, they convince me to give them my bank name and IBAN, because then they can transfer me their money, I can withdraw it for them, and they can buy train tickets to reunite with their families. After all, their bank cards don't work here. They just escaped the war, right? So walking to the ATM inside, they're all singing my praise, saying how I'm going to meet Jesus, how they're so grateful, and something feels off. Because by the time I notice one of them's on the phone, they've hung up. Turns out, it was their Photoshop guy. Now they're showing me a screenshot of a transactional receipt, my name, my account, and 600 euros right there. I'm being fucking scammed. I tried to hide it, but they noticed my hesitation, and their attitude shifts too. The mood goes from calling me Jesus to intense peer pressure and growing aggression. I'm sizing up the three of them, and I'll weigh up my options. I've still got a busted up leg. I can walk, but I can't run, let alone fight off three men. And sure as heck, I am not losing 600 euros right now. I gotta resolve this peacefully and quickly, because I still got a train to catch. Using their tactics against them, I say, send me your bank details, so when the money arrives, I can wire it straight back to you. I just bought you all lunch, so you can trust me. It goes back and forth for a while, but they can't fault my logic, and they let me go. Sitting down on the train, I can finally relax, but I felt so fucking stupid. I mean, I only bought them lunch, but I still got my own kindness taken advantage of. They never texted me back. The money never arrived. And I traveled to Berlin with my faith in humanity slightly splintered. Once I arrive, it's 5:30 p.m. and I realize I probably should have left a little earlier because there's very few hours of sunlight left, and I still don't have a place to stay. As I leave the station, I freeze. I can't speak, and I certainly can't talk to anyone. I think in a way I have definitely bitten off more than I can chew. I decide to do a Google search and stumble across a place called
Friedrichshain.
Known for its counterculture energy and its punk people, I decide I might have a better time near there.
1 hour later.
I still haven't spoken to anyone. I'm sat in this cafe wondering why I'm exercising my free will like this, and time is running out because this shop is about to close. I go to pay, and to my surprise, the waitress tries talking to me. She asks if I'm studying here, to which I say no. We talk a bit more, and I ask her if she thinks Berlin is a friendly place, to which she also says no. But would you say Berlin's a friendly place, or... No?
Nee.
Oh my god, okay.
So.
My hopes for this challenge? Gone. Crushed. Control-Alt-Deleted. But then, something unexpected happens. We sit down together and chat in full-on Denglish for the next 20 minutes.
Ah, okay.
Willst du auf Deutsch reden oder Englisch?
Ah, Englisch ist besser, aber
Okay, wir machen beides.
we're going what?
Both.
Okay,
Both,
Englisch. Zu Bochum?
Ja.
Ja, so. Ich möchte
einen
neuen
Freund
oder
oder Freundin finden.
finden. Oh, finden, to find.
Ja, genau.
Oh!
Genau.
Despite her saying that Berlin isn't a friendly place, she proved herself wrong. And I leave that cafe with a new sense of hope, thanks to her. On my way to
Friedrichshain,
I see this big grass clearing with so many groups of people. Not confident enough to walk up to a group of strangers, I try approaching a dog walker. But, through no fault of their own, they don't notice me and turn to walk the other way. Fuck! But that's when I decide to look behind me. Entschuldigung, haben Sie Zeit jetzt? Ja? So. Sat on a bench, smoking a cigarette, was Gerrit. Wie heißt du?
Gerrit.
Gerrit. I'm doing it. I'm speaking German to another stranger.
We can also speak English if you want. Or you want to practice?
Ich möchte mein Deutsch probiert.
Ja, alles gut. Das klingt super.
Und dann, wenn ich kann nicht mehr, dann ich frage auf Englisch.
Ich mache ein neues Video.
Would you be okay with me staying over?
My roommate is in Vietnam at the moment, so you can have the place.
Shit, no way!
Oh, look.
Wait, what? Was it that easy? Aren't you scared? How can you trust this guy? At this point, I have no answers. But something about this guy makes me trust him. We keep talking for the next hour on that bench. I learned that he's a filmmaker and he has a huge background in skateboarding. He co-founded a film production company called Modest Department. He's worked with A$AP Rocky, Adidas, Mercedes-Benz, just to name a few names. And to give you guys an idea of the levels this guy is on, I met the guy who made all of that. Crazy.
We're on our way to have dinner together right now.
Not only does he give me a place to stay, but he pays for my dinner too.
Thank you so much, man.
As I'm learning more about Gerrit, I find out that he's always wanted to learn how to play the guitar, but he's never really allowed himself to do that. What even is a friend? I'm trying to make a new one here, so surely I have some sort of criteria, right? But to be honest, I don't really know right now. But I do think, how cool would it be if I could convince this man to buy his first guitar? I don't know. Maybe there's something in that. We head home, and after an evening of assessing whether or not this stranger is going to harvest my organs, I decide to trust in my gut and fall asleep.
Bro, as if I met you. Sat on a park bench. Hello! Hi!
I'll wake up the next day, safe and sound. And retrospectively, it wasn't nearly as scary as I thought it was going to be. So, what's next? Well, I meet Gerrit's friend Sebi, and our mission for the day was to find fake money. Therefore, we headed to Don Juan. It's this crazy warehouse industrial estate full of the most random goods you can think of. We're walking around asking everyone where to find this money, and eventually we find it. And the smile on Sebi's face was just so wholesome. We sit down and have lunch, and they're both telling crazy stories about the company they made together. But Sebi has to leave to get some chocolates done. So then Gerrit takes me around Berlin. He takes me to see the Berlin Wall and to where his old film studio used to be. And the weather is just perfect. Eventually he has to leave too, but he gives me a list of things to check out. And one of the things was the River Spree. After a few hours of just wandering around on my own, I bump into two men playing the guitar. Thomas from Berlin and Theodor from Romania. I get to know the both of them, and somehow they end up teaching me how to play the guitar. Like, just imagine 3 men who met that day, they end up sitting on a log, watching the sunset, whilst one of them plays the guitar. Honestly, one of the most romantic and random evenings I've ever had. Like, jeez. And remember how Gerrit always wanted to learn how to play the guitar? Well, he ends up buying one the very next day. And I'm so happy for him because I could just tell how happy he was finally allowing himself to do something he'd been thinking of doing for a long time now. He just needed a little encouragement. We separate again because he needed to do more editing. But then, as I'm walking around Kreuzberg, I see a sign for a vintage market. Out loud, I say, that's a shame, because it was advertised for the next day. But someone replies to me saying, yeah, I know, right? Hello? This woman emerges from around the corner and we end up chatting. Her name's Sarah and she's from Tunisia. And she ends up inviting me to watch her perform that night because turns out she's a DJ. So that's my plan for the evening. But before then, I head to Tempelhoferfeld. It's basically this massive abandoned airport runway that a bunch of locals use to skate around now. I meet this crazy wizard skater called Sergio, and he's from Turkey. And he only moved to Berlin 2 years ago. And then I met a skateboarder called Melior, and I actually filmed his successful attempt on hitting this grind. And I just have great conversations with the both of them. Then, as promised, I head to the club to watch Sarah perform. And that was one of the most unique experiences I've had in a very long time. I meet tons of people there, and I just want to stay the whole night because I'm having so many lovely interactions with so many people. But I have to leave because I had a train to catch the next day. Just as I thought the adventure was coming to an end, on the subway back to Garrett's flat, I sit down next to this random man, and he's speaking English. The train is moving super slowly, and he's making a joke out of it, pretending to be in bullet time. I join in, obviously. We get talking, and I find out that he and his friend Raquel are both 3D animators. We all instantly click. We're laughing, we're cracking jokes, I tell them about my video challenge, and we have the most wonderful conversation on the subway together. And to top it off, this man's name is Ed.
Nice to meet you, Ed.
Nice to meet you, Eddie.
I can't make this story up. There are too many coincidences and there are too many full circle moments. I get back to Garrett's flat and we end up trading our own travel and work stories up until about 2, 3 a.m. Then I head to bed and my heart is just overflowing with gratitude and my head is full of even more stories to tell. It's a push. The next morning, I pack my things, say goodbye to my new friend, and get on the long train back home. From nearly losing 600 euros and all my hopes in this little challenge, to then finding a place to stay for 3 nights, meeting tons of kind-hearted strangers, and exploring this beautiful city. Yeah, crazy. Moral of the story is, keep your hearts open, but maybe keep your wallets closed. But I guess a more in-depth conclusion would be this. Now more than ever, the world has grown into this increasingly fractured place. All you see in the media is war or divisive politics, and in fairness, it's always been that way. But mix in social media and steadily rising phone addictions, and people are just so disconnected everywhere. And it's been this rising trend of over-consuming negativity, brain rot, and just being glued to your screens. How do you expect to make friends in a world like that? And don't get me wrong, the invention of the phone and the internet are great tools to be used to get connected or to stay connected with like-minded individuals. But who here actually uses it like that? I know I haven't. And for the most part, I use my phone for doom scrolling or entertainment, right? So how do you make friends? Well, I think it starts with getting off of this and doing a bit more of this. Because when I think back to my time in Berlin, I just interacted with the real world. And yes, it can be a mean and scary place. Take those 3 scammers, for instance. But if you have the confidence, and if you're willing to keep your heart open, maybe the next conversation you have with a stranger could lead to your next friendship. And maybe your next adventure. Peace and love. Cheng.
Love you, bro. It's gotta be. Right.
Wanna wave goodbye? God damn, Gerrit. I fucking love you, bro. Honestly.
You too.
If you made it this far into the video, you get a massive thank you. As you can probably tell, it took me a long while to make, but it was loads of fun to make, and I really want to explore this style of storytelling a bit more. To everyone I met in Berlin, mwah, thank you so much, especially you, Garrett. You are the best. And yeah, hopefully one day we can all cross paths again. Peace and love for the second time.